Today I want to give you a complete, concise picture of the home selling process and what it actually looks like from start to finish. Now this is specific to this area, which is Northwest Georgia and the North Atlanta corridor. Now I'm going to walk you through every stage, give you realistic time estimates based on current market data, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to watch out for in each step. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to give you is a big picture overview so that you have context for everything else that's going to follow. Once you sign the listing agreement and put your house on the market, currently in Bartow County, the average days on market is about 48 days, and in Cherokee County is about 45 days, but that varies month to month. Once you go under contract, a standard financed closing in Georgia usually takes 30 to 45 days. Before that, if you add in 2 to 4 weeks of pre-listing preparation, as a ballpark, 90 to 120 days, that's 3 to 4 months, is a realistic planning window in today's market, from the time you make the decision to sell to the day that you close. All right, now let's walk through each one of the phases. First phase, pre-listing. This could take anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. This is the phase that most sellers underinvest in. Ironically, it's the phase that has the biggest impact on your outcome. During this window of time, you and your agent are doing several different things in parallel. On your side, you're completing a room-by-room preparation. I've talked about that in other videos. You're decluttering, deep cleaning, doing minor repairs, putting on fresh paint where it's needed, refreshing your landscaping, working on your curb appeal. You're reviewing your agent's marketing plan, and you're making decisions about staging. Your agent is pulling comps, finalizing the pricing strategy, ordering professional photography and videography, including drone footage if applicable, drafting up your listing description, and preparing all of the disclosure documents. Now, in Georgia, your disclosure documents include the seller's property disclosure statement, and if your home was built before 1978, it also includes a lead-based paint addendum. A pre-listing inspection, something that I definitely strongly recommend to my sellers. If you know ahead of time what your buyer's inspector is going to find before they make an offer, that gives you time and space. That way you can define and decide what you're going to fix on your terms, rather than negotiating repairs when you're under contract pressure and the buyer has maximum leverage. Trust me, invest in this phase. Every week that you spend here is worth several weeks of time sitting on the market. Phase number 2, now we're going live. This is the first week that you're on the market. The moment that your home goes live on the MLS is one of the most important moments in the entire selling process. This is when buyer interest is highest and when first impressions are formed permanently. Your home should hit the market on a Thursday. Data consistently shows that Thursday listings get better weekend showing traffic than any other day of the week. Because think about it, buyers are going to be reviewing the new listings that they want to see on the weekend on Thursday and Friday to make their plans. And they are motivated to schedule weekend showings for your home potentially before somebody else schedules it. The first 7 days will give you a great insight about how your home is being received by the market. A well-priced, well-presented listing, you should start to see showing requests within the first 48 to 72 hours. If you're getting showing requests but no offers, or if you're getting 0 showing requests by day 10, that's either price or presentation. And this is why I use what I call a 10-10 rule. If we have 0 showings in the first 10 days, or we have 10 showings but 0 offers, the market is telling us that the price is too high and we need to follow what the market is telling us. All right, let's get into phase 3. Now this is starting at day 8 up to whatever the market average is. Now this is the waiting game. Honestly, this phase, most sellers find it the most emotionally and psychologically challenging. During this period of time, you've got to maintain your home in showing conditions at all times. Basically, you're living in a model home. Beds are made, clothes are picked up, dishes are not left in the sink, and you need to have a go bag packed so that you are ready to vacate your home on very short notice for a showing. Definitely inconvenient. So you gotta suck it up, prepare for it emotionally and mentally. It is what it is. Now during this time, your agent will be communicating with you consistently. They're going to share showing feedback. They're gonna monitor competing listings that have come on the market since you went live. They're going to be flagging any market shifts like interest rates or things like that that might affect your strategy. In the current market, the sale to list price around Bartow County is at about 96%. That means that if you're selling your home you listed it at $600,000, realistic offers are probably going to come in somewhere between $576,000 and $600,000. Now I want to state this expectation up front to prevent sellers from freaking out when they get a low offer of $575,000. Let's talk about stage 4. We've got an offer. You can accept the offer, you can counter the offer, or you can reject the offer. In most cases, you're probably going to counter the offer. Your agent will talk you through the full process. During this time, we're going to discuss purchase price that's being offered, the earnest money, due diligence period, contingencies, what the proposed closing date is, and if there's any seller concession request that they make. Every one of these things is negotiable. Now, one thing that many sellers do not anticipate is the contingencies. 2 of the most common, financing or sale. If a buyer offer includes a financing contingency, the deal still can fall apart if their loan doesn't close. If they have a sale contingency, their lender probably told them, hey, you are only going to qualify for this new home if you get an offer and sell your current residence rather than having 2 mortgages. So ask your agent to vet the buyer and that pre-approval very carefully before you accept any offers, because if you accept an offer, your home will be off the market and you could potentially miss out on other possibly stronger offers if you're waiting on those contingencies. Now, typically the negotiation is resolved within 24 to 72 hours, depending on the weekend, etc. if it came in on a Friday afternoon. Now, usually what happens is they make an offer to you, you counter back to them. They change their offer slightly, you may accept it or counter it again, and you just it's a dance, you go back and forth. Now, once both parties have agreed to all terms and both parties sign the contract, congratulations, you're officially under contract. Take a breath. The hard part is almost over until it's time to start packing and moving all those boxes out of your house. All right, let's talk about stage 5. We're under contract. Here's what's going to happen. The buyer has a negotiated window. They're going to decide if they want to proceed or not. In our market, due diligence period usually runs 7 to 14 days. During this window of time, the buyer can walk away for any reason and they're going to get their earnest money back. Now, this is also when the buyer typically get their professional home inspector. After the inspection's done, you may receive a repair request, and that's completely normal, even in a fairly new home. Your agent will go through that with you and help you to evaluate what you should fix, what you should offer a credit for, and what to push back on. Having a home that you have done a pre-listing inspection on means that you already know what the buyer's inspector is going to find, and you've had the time to address any of those issues already or to at least mentally decide, hey, I'm gonna have to come out of pocket for this because I don't feel like fixing it myself. Now, let's talk about days 14 through 30. The buyer's lender is reviewing the full loan file. They're going through, they're ordering an appraisal, and they're also working towards what we call a clear to close. As the seller, you're mostly twiddling your thumbs during this period. Now, your agent should be checking in with the buyer's agent, once or twice a week, just to make sure that nothing's come up. Typically during this period of time is also when the appraisal happens. Now, if the appraisal comes in and it is at or above the purchase price, everything proceeds as normal, no worries. If the appraisal comes back lower than the agreed on price, you need to have a conversation about whether you're going to reduce your price, ask the buyer to come up with additional funds, or split the gap. Your agent should give you some feedback on this, and hopefully they discuss this with you before you put it on the market. All right, now we're at day 30 to 45. This is the final closing preparation. Your closing attorney, they receive all of the title search results and so forth. They're preparing the closing documents and they're coordinating the final walkthrough, which typically happens 24 to 48 hours before closing. It's the last chance for them to walk through and make sure that everything that they agreed to is in the property. No chandeliers have been taken, and that does happen. And now we're at phase 6, closing day. Closing day is handled by a licensed closing attorney. You'll get a closing disclosure, which details every dollar that's going to flow in and flow out from and to both parties. Typically, this comes in 3 business days before closing. Carefully review it with your agent. Let them know if you have any questions. On closing day itself, you'll show up, you'll sign documents, the buyer's funds will be confirmed, and then once everything is verified and signed, the deed is recorded and proceeds are dispersed. That means you get the money. In most cases, you'll receive net proceeds via a wire transfer that same day. And then you hand over the keys and you're done, and on to the next chapter of your life. All right, so here's the thing about the selling process. It's really only overwhelming if you don't know what's coming, but now you do. If you would like a guide who will walk through every one of these phases with you with real data specific to your home, your neighborhood, your timeline, that's exactly what I do. You'll understand your timeline, you'll know your realistic price range, and you'll know exactly what to expect before you ever put a sign in the front yard. If you'd like to make that happen, the link to book a conversation is down in the description below. I hope that you'll subscribe for more content like this. Every week I produce 1 to 2 videos about real estate in Northwest Georgia and North Atlanta, and I hope that you'll share this with any other seller that you know who maybe is hesitating because the process feels a little overwhelming. No worry, I totally understand. It doesn't have to be that way. So I hope to see you on the next video.